Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. We've finally done it. We've through October 1982 and we're pressing forward for November 1982. But don't worry, there's over 800 video games before we close out 1982. Welcome to November. Shots have been fired. We were last on the Commodore VIC-20 checking out 3D Labyrinth by Jeff Minter. Let's see what the next release is. Next, we're going to the United Kingdom to play on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. This is 3D Tanks. T-A-N-K-S. I think we've seen other games that were called Tanks like this. Very cute. Let's take a look at the box for 3D Tanks. Yes, it's Tanks. It's also by DK-Tronics. I believe this is the third game we played by DK-Tronics. Not too many out there, so they have a lot to live up to. But it is a game, and is it going to be in 3-dimension? I'm actually expecting from the box something to be like Battlezone. Doesn't it look like we're going to play a Battlezone style game? Yeah, flip it over the back, you can see it's a cassette tape, because we played video games on cassette tapes right now in November. What other artwork do we have for 3D Tanks? This marks our 116th game we've played on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. And bear in mind, this computer came out in April 1982. We've already played 116 games for this little micro. And also remember that while it came out in April, most people didn't get it until months later because it was mail order. Yeah, that's how many games you could have already played on this little micro. Besides the box, we have just the cassette tape by DK-Tronics. Very quaint, simple, easy. Oh, there you go. An alternate box. Really, really flashy, but just different color scheme. There's an example of the screenshot. And I think I have, actually, I wanted to show off the title. Yeah, there we go. By Don Priestley. Way to go, Don. This is the 5th game we've seen Don Priestley do. All have been in the United Kingdom. Here's the manual. Manual? Oh, it's just how to load 3D Tanks. So that's what you got on the inside sleeve. Yes. We are finally out of October. This game has got to be good, right? Of all the versions that you could play of 3D Tanks, most are by DK-Tronics. There's one by in Italy, and there's also, I believe, yeah, a re-release in France, all over Europe. Here's the first one from the United Kingdom, 3D Tanks by Don Priestley at sometime at the beginning of November 1982. They're greeting us with a program by DK-Tronics. Okay, so we can do I for info. Tell us, how do we play? We have active, okay, tell us what our scores are going to be for shooting everything. Got to know what they are in 1982. Then we have our keys. Looks like this is keyboard controlled only. It is pretty rare for a ZX Spectrum game to be joystick, but you can see I can move left and right with F and T and up and down with S and W. And then if you want to hold the game, you can press H. I wonder what hold means. I'll try it. And then we have fire with Y, and space will abandon any game. Got it. And we just push any key to move on. So we can change the game type if we push C. Oh, nice. 7 different game modes. You can have a practice mode if you want to. Let's go with, let's do a moderate start. So I'll push number 2. Nice. And then R to return. Interesting user interface. And then they have 1 to change to a 1-player game, or 2 for a 2 or more player game. So check this out. If I do 2, you can have a max of 6 players playing this game. But it's, again, a hot seat game. So if you have 6 people here for the party, you just take turns. See if you can get the high score. So I'll just do a 1-player game. Oh, wait, max is 6? No, I'll go back to 1 player. So is the high score table. Nice touch. Oh, it's going to go right into a 6-player game. Whoops. Wasn't expecting that one. All right, let's get the controls. Here we go. Left and right's working pretty good for the controls. And let's see, we move up and down. Where's my up and down? There it is. Ooh, cool effect of the tank moving back and forth. So it is from a first-person perspective. It's like I'm controlling a tank. Looks like these aren't very aggressive. They're not firing too much at me. But notice how all the tanks in the background are on different planes. You're supposed to fire a shot. Let's try it. What is it? Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay, that should have hit. Oh, it didn't hit because you have to make sure you have the right distance of your turret. So it's timing, and it's also nice. It's timing, but you also have to get the distance correct. Too cool. Yeah, so it's not technically Battlezone because we're not able to move around in a 3D space. It doesn't feel very virtual reality-ish. Wait a second. I just shot the tank, and it's still... Their turrets can still hit me? Wait a second. So even a downed tank can hit us again. Let me try that again. Oh, too high. Hold on. I'm wondering if I could hit it again, that it'll blow the turret off, but it looks like no. An immobilized tank is still... What? So look at this. Now I've made really poorly placed tanks that I've destroyed, and now they're going to get in the way. So here, if I move myself over here... Oh, wait. Those tanks blew them up. Let's see if we can time it right. Cool. So this idea is not a new idea. It is interesting that we haven't seen a whole lot of games that are playing like this. Essentially, this is like a shooting gallery game. You know, the kind of things you see at a carnival. But the shooting gallery is done where you have multiple planes to work with. Wait a second. Did I just enable that tank? I don't know if I turned on the turret. It looked like I shot the tank, and then now it could shoot after me. So this is a shooting gallery, but it has some elements added onto it. Up to this point, across all systems, this is the 53rd shooting gallery game we played. Shooting gallery is like the predecessor of the fixed shooter that was brought to us by Space Invaders. So this is like older than Space Invaders' idea, basically. But it is a vehicle simulation because we're getting controlling a tank in a 3D space like this, which is kind of nice. It's not super technical. It's still very much an arcade-style game. This is the 27th vehicle simulation game we played, but that's just general vehicle simulator. All kinds of vehicles. This one really reminds me of a few games we already saw in the arcades in 1977. Take a look at M79 Ambush. It plays really similar to that, or Guided Missile, both from 1977 in the arcades. So in a way, it's almost like we're doing a throwback of playing a really classic arcade game on our Sinclair ZX Spectrum. But this mechanic of having the tank stay there, I don't know if that works. I guess it just... You're going to be having them sit... Let's see, this. Can I get this one? Nope, too close. You have to angle it right. Let's see if that's the right angle. Yep, there it is. So one goes down, and you can see... Fire! But now you have all these down tanks that can hit you. Whoa, and that was 3. That is super firepower from that one. Yeah, and so the way the game eventually works is you're just going to clutter the landscape. So we're playing a 6-player game. That's too funny. This is the 23rd game we played that is 6-player compatible. Even though it's hot seat, it's still fun that they programmed in 6 players if you wanted it to. But eventually, your death will be inevitable because you have to fill the whole landscape up with down tanks that can shoot you. I guess if you were smart enough, you could time it so that, for example, one of the tanks is on the left or right side. But antiquated concept. It's executed very well, though, here on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. You would have a lot of fun with this one. There is more releases on other home computers besides this. 3D Tanks is... well, or tanks, if you wouldn't want to call it that, like this in the title, it's going to be all over the place. And then hold, I found out what it was. It just holds your gun position so you don't mess it up. That's what the hold was. All right, so of all the games you can play right now across all home computers, it's okay. It's very good for a home computer game, but I wouldn't rate it any higher than like 3 stars. If you twisted my arm, maybe 3.5 stars, but it's pretty average for all the games you could play up to this point. It's an older concept, but it's executed very well. Yeah, I'm looking over the chat. I already see a 3-star rating and 3.5 from Manly. Yeah, and it does have the keyboard control is also what's not pushing it over the top, but I'll say 3. A few more 3 stars coming from chat too. Thanks so much for the ratings. Be sure to come for the live show if you're tuning in later, because you can always influence what the ratings are. I usually am rating the games between like a 0.5 star or 2, and then as I play them, I really get an understanding of if the game should deserve, you know, an average rating, a better than average, or an excellent, or one of the best games you could play across all home computers. It's pretty tricky. No one's ever done this before, so we're just going on the fly. All right, after that, let's see what our next release is. After this commercial break.
When it comes to video games, nobody compares to Atari.
I find television more sophisticated and lifelike.
I love this commercial.
Move over for my
William Shatner to save the day.
Commodore VIC-20.
With our friend, the VIC-20. The reason I'm showing this is because this is our 300th Commodore VIC-20 game that we played on the show.
This
A computer that plays
Oh, and we
great
played that
games?
chess one too.
$300?
Exactly.
Only under $300?
Get the Commodore VIC-20 computer for under $300.
Yes, that's right. The Commodore VIC-20. And our 300th game is... it's a terrible, terrible game to call our 300th game, but it's cool that here on Chronologically Gaming, we've played 300 games on the Commodore VIC-20 all over the world. This game is AC Doocy. It's part of a games tape program pack, like a compilation pack. Starting in 1983, I will no longer be separating games within compilations. All the games will be included in one, so I'm really not looking forward to the episode that has that 32 or 64 games in one cassette tape. I forget what it was. It was on lots of home computers, but we're going to be doing that one game, all 64 in one episode somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it. That's one reason why I was splitting these up originally. All right, so there you go. We have no other artwork, right? It's just AC Doocy. That's all we're looking at here. It's from the Games Tapes 1 compilation pack. Let's pop in and play a little AC Doocy from Titan Programs, released sometime at the beginning of November 1982. All these games that we're checking out from the beginning of November also might have been somewhere near the end of October. Release dates really don't make sense right now, at least when you look at records. This is a game of cards where you're dealt 2 cards face up, the dealer being the computer. Okay, they're explaining what AC Doocy is. Got it. This marks the 6th game we played by Titan Programs. Go Titan Programs. Most have been terrible, terrible compilations like this one. You bet on the next card between the value of the first 2 minimum bet is £5. All right, so that means I'm going to go in with... We have £100 right now. Your first 2 cards are... What? There's not even graphics? They're just going to tell us with text? That is so cheap. We played AC Doocy in card games where they actually show cards, but this is only text. We have a queen and an ace. So what's our bet? I'm going to bet £5 because that's a terrible one. Yeah, we're going to lose. You're supposed to be able to bet in between. That's what AC Doocy is also known as. So we got a 2 and a 5. What's our bet? Let's go with £50. Let's go nuts. Oh, it was a jack. We lose. It's the very early form of betting. You're just supposed to guess, are you going to get in between the 2 or not? That's right, Mark. That's right. I believe TJ Hooker just started the first season. All right, so this one I'll go ahead and bet 25. And we lose again. And I think everyone just loses. You're just going to lose when you play AC Doocy. Well, I was expecting more for the 300th game we played so far on the Commodore VIC-20. But you can't make this stuff up. Of all the games we can play right now across all home computers, it's a bust. I'm going to go 1.5 stars. It's bad. There's better AC Doocy games, better card games, just better games you could play. It's not broken, though. It is kind of working. Yeah, let's see, 1's even lower than that. All right, with that, let's press forward to see our next game after this commercial break.
You're a kid, right? Wrong!
Whoa,
You're a gorilla
that was a
being
drastic
chased
turn.
by wild warriors. You're playing Amidar, the challenging new home video game. You've
the latest.
outsmarted the warriors and won,
They actually
right?
showed
Wrong! Now you're a paint
simulated
roller being
gameplay.
chased by
What in the
pigs.
world's going on?
Amidar is action-packed like the arcade game and lots of fun. You've won, right? Wrong! You're a gorilla
Whoa.
again, only now the game's
commercial's
faster.
going all over
but you're
the
ready
place.
for Amidar, right? Right. From Parker Brothers, the ones to beat.
Ah, yes, Parker Brothers. Well, there you go. That is actually a really good commercial for what Amidar is. It is out there. It is weird, man. Here's Amidar, released for the Atari VCS. Let's check it out. Starting with the box. Amidar. Oh, man. Another gorilla or another ape in the arcades. Brought home. All thanks to Donkey Kong. I wonder if when they made games at the time, Donkey Kong was so popular, they just thought, if we make a video game with apes and monkeys, it's got to sell. It's going to be great. Yeah, wasn't that an awesome commercial? It was done so well. The word Amidar actually comes from the word dakuji, which basically means it's a Japanese method of lottery that's like ladders. And I'm sure you've seen it before, where you start at the top with several branches of ladders trying to get to the bottom. I played plenty of games that have that method of game. It's usually designed to create random pairings of arbitrary numbers or 2 sets of points of goals, each with equal number of elements. So that's where Amidar comes from. However, this one plays like all the other games we played that are grid capture, moving around the screen, trying to capture a certain area. That's what it kind of looks like, though. This marks the 160th game we've played on the Atari VCS, or Atari 2600. Whatever your flavor. So the front is kind of like the arcade too. It's explaining everything. It's got the pigs. It's got the painter. It's got the crazy aborigines running after you, what have you. So this is the arcade game series by Parker Brothers. Flip this over on the back. Welcome to the wacky, weird, wonderful world. The Amidar video. Amidar, I think that's how you pronounce it in the commercial. I always say Amidar. A cast of crazy characters go ape in a mad maze craze, and they break down several of the different styles of game right here on the back. So lots of information, and they're not shy away from giving you the screenshot. Yes, and the front is not Mario, not at all. I think we said that in the arcades too. All right, this is originally that we saw in the arcades from 1981. This is the official way to play Amidar on a home console. The very first time. We've already seen Amidar on handhelds by Gakken, and then it was officially on home computers on the PC 6001 in Japan. So this is the 12th game that is like Amidar, because we've already played games that are really close to Amidar that play almost identical to Amidar. So 12 games that are already kind of like Amidar out there. Here's an ad you would have seen in magazines at the time. Bring the game that's way ahead of the pack. Well, not really, because we played 12 other games that are like it. And then another one too. This is by Parker Brothers. I believe this is the third game that we've seen by Parker Brothers. All of these have been on the Atari home console, like Frogger and Empire Strikes Back were the other two. So Frogger, that's awesome. Empire Strikes Back, that was awesome. Amidar, it's not something I would be super excited for. Here's the cartridge for Amidar. Parker Brothers did something a little different. Some of the third-party companies have been changing the shape and type of the cartridges. The Parker Brother cartridges, if you ever held them in your hand, they feel almost more futuristic, kind of blocky is how I would describe them. So that's pretty cool for Amidar. Good job, Amidar. I don't know what is happening with this monkey. That's not the Amidar I know. With an example of a screenshot, we also have the manual. Tell us how to play. Whoa, as the monkey flies on the screen. Tell us how to play Amidar. This is official, so this is brought over by Konami. At this point, Konami is still kind of small time. This is the 29th game that we played by Konami, and we include all ports, all variations, everything that Konami's ever done. They've done 17 games for the arcade. 3 games were released on the NEC PC 6001. They had 1 game, Frogger, that came out for the Atari home computer and the Apple II that we've already seen. Now, it's not necessarily saying that they developed it themselves, but they had either some kind of rights, to use their property. There were 2 games that we played by Konami on the Arcadia 2001, 2 games for the Intex Adventure Vision, and then here on the Atari, Konami's done only Frogger. This is the 2nd game that Konami. So just imagine a world where there's 2 games for across all home consoles that Konami has done. Isn't that a weird concept? Now we're going to see whenever we keep pushing forward. All right, so here we go. Here's how you play Amidar. First, you're a gorilla in a maze, pursued by wild warriors. The gorilla wants a color in the maze, and the warriors want to do in the gorilla. That's an interesting way to put it. It's up to you to keep the gorilla ahead of the patrolling pack while you guide him on his coloring spree every which way throughout the maze. If you're successful, suddenly you're a paint roller pursued by patrolling pigs, and it's another fast, furious chase all over again. It explains the difficulty switch. I believe that's all we have for controls, or at least game options. All you do is, if you have game position A for the difficulty, you have 5 warriors at slow speed, or you have fast speed with position B. But that's it. There's not any other variations or options. There's not even a 2-player mode. This is a 1-player only game. Very, very limited with game options. Right here above my head, you can see the controls for the Atari VCS. Yeah, we got it. Move up and down, left and right. Great. That's pretty easy. And it explains how to play, what the point of the game is. If you're not familiar, because this could be the very first time you played a grid capture game or an Amidar game. Here on Chronologically Gaming, we're very spoiled, and we've already played 12 games that are just like this. It explains how the warriors move around the maze. Very nice. And when the round ends, you have 3 chances or 3 gorillas to paint or color the entire maze. And it explains what the pigs and roller maze is like. Do they give us the point values? Because Amidar also had, depending on which grid you colored in, you got different points for it too. That Amidar gorilla is a little creepy looking. Donkey Kong was a little bit more fun. He's supposed to be the bad guy, right? But now you're playing as a monkey or an ape, and now the gorilla just looks, he looks more like a grandpa. And they give us some strategy and hints like they do with most of the games on Atari. And look, Amidar's talking to us. If you have a Sears Video Arcade, you just need to... Oh, look, you actually changed the difficulty level with the Switch because the Switches were different on that one. But nobody had the Sears Video Arcade. You're supposed to have the Atari 2600. I don't know about you, but I got most of these games whenever they were at garage sales or yard sales, and there was a lot more Sears Video Arcades being given away at yard sales than the Atari 2600 because I don't think anybody wanted them, at least here in North America. All right, so there's the game levels for different rounds of what it's like. Pause the screen if you want to take some tips and tricks. For other versions, I have a few hacks, faster enemies, Amidar hack, the Amidar DS one, or if you're in Germany, I'm Reich der Spin by Starsoft. And there is a PAL version by Parker Brothers too. We're going to play the first one in North America. This was done by Ed Temple. Way to go, Ed. Parker Brothers and Konami at some time in the beginning of November 1982. And that was... I'm still stuck in November, apparently. And we are in. I'm surprised they didn't trap me in. That worked really, really well. So the first level or first style of game, oh, he's going. I don't think they have the same speed as me, no. They are able to corner faster than I can, though. So 3 different chances. They don't give us a tune or a ditty before we start. In Amidar, no one can hear you scream. But it's so quiet. After we played Amidar in the arcades, I wasn't super impressed with the gameplay compared to all the other games you could be playing at the time. The simple concept of just moving around, dodging enemies, is like we're playing a maze game like Pac-Man, but you're taking away the ability with power-ups. So I do have a jump, by the way. If I do that, watch, you can see I can do that, and I get a temporary reprieve for the enemies. A few of the variants we played has done things like making the enemy shake or drop to the end of the screen, things like that. Right now, though, video gaming is so high and console gaming are so high that it seems that nothing could happen. Every time I get ready for the show and I know what year we're going back to, I just think of the impending doom that's happening. And I've said it before, we are aware that there's going to be a video game crash in North America, but at this point, we played some bad games, sure, but it's nothing that makes you think that it's going to just cause Atari shock, as they refer to it in Japan. It still seems unbelievable. Because we are getting inconsistencies. There's some games that are really, really good still on home consoles. But I can now understand, because we're playing everything, even on home computers, that the true gems, the true really good video games are on home computers. They're pushing things farther than the console. But most people got familiar with video games and consoles because, aha, nice. Because they had the Atari VCS or they had consoles. I'm looking at the Atari because most people had this console. If people were buying the terrible games on home consoles, it was this system that was influencing all the other consoles out there. That's right, Brian. Just wait. It is coming. So now we change to the paint roller. Something else I noticed about this Amidar, gosh, there's a lot of enemies, is the sprites or the characters are really small. It's technically not sprites, but look how tiny everything is. Whenever we were running around as Pitfall Harry, who we were playing as, the character on screen, was a lot larger. Here, Amidar is really, really tiny. It kind of reminds me of the character we played from Airlock, which I wouldn't recommend. It's not a very good game for a home console, but it reminds you of that really, really tiny look. Similar to another game we played, Fast Eddie, which was a platformer. You played as a larger character. Donkey Kong, you played as a larger character. Look how tiny we are on the screen. You can barely see us. So as the first official game you could play, this one actually plays better than the other official game that was on the NEC PC 6001. That one, it didn't really seem like we were playing real Amidar, like it was from the arcade. It seemed foreign. And if you get a chance, check out the video we did on the NEC PC 6001 version of Frogger. You're not even playing as a frog. You're playing as a stick figure in that version. And the same with Amidar. It's like, is this really Amidar? This one still, even though it's kind of strange, weird, it still looks like or feels like I'm playing Amidar. I can understand what I'm doing right now. And this skill level that we're on is the slower one. You can play a faster version of Amidar if you want to. Just flip that difficulty switch on your Atari VCS. Oh, right? Yeah, Pepper 2. When we saw that, that was great. But I still say Jeepers Creepers that you could play on the Atari home computer. There's a lot of games on the Atari home computer that play as good as the arcade or sometimes better. And Jeepers Creepers is one of those. If you want to play a really good Amidar style game, that's the way to do it. Now, wait a second. Where's the point values? In the arcade, they had, I guess, for the getting the characters on the screen. Oh, I ran out of superpowers. I think we can knock it out before we finish up, though. There it is. And now we're back. We are not a man. We're a monkey. I mean, an ape, not a monkey. Oh, that's right. And I'm going to have lots of people in the chat and memories of what it's going to be like when we play. I really want to know, though, here on the show, if during the crash, 1983, 1984, whenever we actually do next year, is it going to be noticeable? The less games that we play. I know it is going to be noticeable. We're going to be playing a lot more games from Japan. But I really don't know for sure until we actually do it, because this has never been done before. But to its credit, this is the very first game that Ed Temple has ever done. So to be, I mean, as your very first game that you ever did, or at least on record that you ever did, this is okay for programming for the Atari VCS, because right now there isn't like documentation on it. You have to learn it from scratch. There's no training seminars on how to program for the home console right now. It's really, really cool. All right, there you go. So that's Amidar, the first official release for any home console. And when you consider all the other games you could play across all home consoles right now, I actually want to say it's fairly average. I don't have any gripes. I don't have anything that really brings this one down. But I really am interested to know from the chat, right now in November 1982, you're getting ready for the holiday season. Was anyone really excited for Amidar? Would you have said this would have been a game that would be higher or better than average of everything, or it would be lower than average? There we go. So I got a Charlie saying 3.5 stars, slightly better than average, but yeah, limited flicker. I'm with you there, but I see some a 2-star as well. So this one could be hit or miss. Yes. And that's another good point. The reason why I'm not pushing this higher on the rating scale is there's no variations. There's not even a 2-player hot seat arcade style mode. It's only one joystick, and then you go in with the game, and then you flip the difficulty switch. That's it. I'm still missing the good old days on the Atari when we had over 100 variations for all the games. That was just so fun. You know, flipping and playing the different variations. It made it a lot more interesting. I know, right? After seeing the commercial, that's why I like to show the commercials, that this would be very underwhelming. Oh, man. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Well, I guess not this video game playing. This is the arcade version of Amidar. You can kind of see the difference graphically, how it compares, but there's even games that we played on home computers that are just as good as Amidar. This is the beginning of November 1982, and we are going to continue playing every single video game all over the world, across all consoles, handhelds, arcade, and as many home computers as we can get our hands to work on. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, it's the November issue of Analog Computing. Let's see what's happening with Atari and computer games as we start out in November 1982. That's it for today, and like I always say, every game has a gimmick, and the best games polish their gimmick before release. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.